Thank you kindly for joining us and spending your afternoon with us on the I Love CVille Network. Today's show, I'm pumped for. Kelly Jackson is a friend of the program and someone who is undoubtedly committed to making Central Virginia a better place for all of us. She does this through philanthropy. She does this through committing her time to volunteering. She does this through supporting the UVA Children's Hospital. She has 15 Panera Bread locations under her and her family's ownership. Nearly 700 employees on payroll at these locations. She's building and welcoming and attracting a new brand and business to Virginia. I'll let her explain that if she'd like to. If not, I'm just going to offer a tease. I know a little bit about it. I'm very excited for what's in store with the Postel and Jackson family and what they got cooking. That's a little hint right there for you. But today and for the next hour, we're going to talk schools. And I think few people can offer a perspective like KJ, Kelly Jackson, because she has a daughter in an advanced track at Monticello High School, and I'll let her explain that. And she has a daughter in elementary school at an area private school. I'll let her explain if she wants to highlight what school that is. Sure. And she also has experience at another private school with both her daughters. So 3 schools of experience KJ has to offer here on top of a ton of research and data that we will relay to you, the viewer and listener. Judah Wickhauer is the director. If we can go to the studio camera, and then the 2-shot, and welcome a friend of the show who we will introduce with a round of applause, Kelly Jackson. And kind enough to bring coffee from Panera Bread.
Yeah.
Thank you for the coffee.
Sure.
We love coffee here.
It's a little rainy out.
Coffee's great.
Yeah, hot bevy.
I love it. The show is yours. Introduce yourself to everybody that's watching.
Sure. I'm Kelly Jackson. I'm in the restaurant business. I'm a mom of 2 kids, 3 if you count my husband Adam sometimes. I love the I Love CVille Show, and I like the platform that it gives us to have a conversation and try to come up with solutions to problems.
Thank you. Thank you very much for those kind words. Your daughters, the show is yours on a proud mom. You are.
Yes,
proud parents.
I'm very proud
Mom. Put in perspective your daughters and the success they are having.
Sure. So my youngest is about to be 9, okay. And she's at STAB and loving it. We feel like she's getting an amazing education. All the faculty and staff I've met over there have been kind and welcoming and really great at being a teacher. So we've been really happy at STAB. Also, some perspective with the Covenant School. Covenant was great. My oldest, about to be 15, she went from kindergarten all the way to 7th grade at Covenant, skipped 8th grade to get into the HMSA program at Monticello.
Put the Monticello, is it HMSA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Health, Medical, Science Academy.
Okay. Put that program into perspective. You love it.
Love it. She loves it. Last year was a great year for her. The head of the department has been fantastic. This year she is taking anatomy. They're dissecting all kinds of very cool things. So she does 2 sciences instead of 1. And they're really medical based, not like, regular science kind of classes.
A competitive program.
Well,
is that a good springboard?
Yeah, my understanding is that it used to be very competitive.
Okay.
You had to apply, you had to hit certain criteria, meaning prerequisite classes, certain GPA levels, things like that went into this application process. Last year, they did a lottery system. So anybody could say they wanted to be part of the program, regardless of hitting benchmarks.
Would you say that's watering down the program?
Yeah, I would think so.
How so?
Well, there are some kids that are in it that aren't prepared for that kind of AP level of a class, but their parents wanted them to do it.
Sure.
Which is, their choice. And then they have, there are other kids who wanted to go to Monticello, but live in a different school district, but applied to the program so they could go to Monticello and not the school district they were assigned to.
So that's some news for you, the viewers and listeners. Catherine Lochner, welcome to the show. She ran for Albemarle County School Board. You, the viewer and listener, can offer perspective. Ray Cadell says, with 4 kids, we have had experience with Greene County from my first marriage, the Albemarle County school system, and Covenant. Ray has said he spent over $250,000 on his daughter's education at the Covenant school, and he did so because he wanted what was best for his daughter and didn't have that, in his words, at ACPS.
Okay.
So let's talk about the advanced track your daughter is in. She's a freshman.
She's a sophomore this year.
Sophomore. She skipped 8th grade.
Yeah.
So we got a very, 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 very bright girl here.
Thank you. She's very motivated, self-driven.
Self-driven and motivated. We certainly saw that during the pandemic.
Yes.
I want you to highlight again of how the program went from benchmarks and performance to get in to now it's apply, waiting list, more open for all kinds of students to get in. Anywhere you want to go on that topic.
Sure. I think all the STEAM programs that Albemarle has to offer are great programs. And I'm happy, that our school system has these amazing programs for children who kind of already have in mind a career path that they think they want to follow. But making it not competitive, I think then waters down the ability of the teachers and the school to teach at a high level, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I think, and I think it makes the program less special or unique for the children and the students that really want to be in those programs and work hard.
Why was this done?
I have no idea why it was done. I think it's falling under, giving everybody opportunity, which I agree with, right? I totally agree with everybody having opportunities, equal opportunities. But that doesn't mean that the higher level students can't be in a higher level, right? I mean, I think there's 3 different levels of students. Students who might need more academic support, middle of the road, run of the mill students, and then high achievers. And I think there should be a place for all 3 of those groups of students to be celebrated and helped.
Catherine Lochner says we need solutions. We'll get to solutions today. In fact, Kelly mentioned one off air that we're very excited to highlight. She is undoubtedly a solutions-oriented person. She's a businesswoman. So if you're not coming up with solutions every single day, you're not keeping your employees with paychecks on Fridays, and you're not keeping your businesses with the lights on and serving customers. She legitimately is a solutions person from the private sector. So we'll get to those.
But going on that.
Please.
I was looking at the Albemarle County School website.
Okay.
And came across, because I was looking at what the school board was going to speak about tonight. Right. And just kind of browsing around. And I came across Virginia Department of Education school quality profiles. It's online. You can look it up.
Anyone can find this.
Anyone can find it.
Okay.
Yeah. Schoolquality.virginia.gov.
Okay.
So I typed in Albemarle County Public Schools. So going to, let's say math. Math is important, I feel.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd say maybe the most important.
Right, you have to know how to balance a checkbook.
Pay your bills. Yeah.
Numbers and things, right? So the amount of percentage of children that are meeting long-term goals in mathematics in Albemarle County. Okay. All students, 69%. Not great, but not awful, right? African Americans, 40%. That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Hispanics, 47%.
Below 50%.
Another problem.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Let's do science. African Americans, 34% are hitting the target goals. Hispanics, 32%. Obviously, something is going awry in our school system where children who might need more support and help are not getting it, and children who want to be very high achievers are also not getting that.
Segue into the graduation rates.
Oh.
This is very interesting. We talked about this off air. Get ready, buckle up, and please digest this. Kelly's done her homework. She's backing this up with statistics that she has found online.
On a government website.
This is going to startle you.
Okay, so given the numbers I just gave you.
Recap them again.
Okay, so passing science rate.
This is ACPS?
All Albemarle County Public Schools.
Okay.
African Americans' science passing rate is 34%. Hispanic rate is 32%. Mathematics is African American is 40%. Hispanics are 47%. But then you scroll down to graduation. And African Americans are at 93%, and Hispanics are at 86%.
Okay, so a logical question would be...
How are they getting those numbers?
Okay.
If only 40% of African American students are passing science or math, I don't understand how there's a 93% graduation.
Can anyone answer that question for us? Catherine Lochner, you ran for school board. Can you help us get some clarity on that question? Vanessa Parkhill is watching the program. Queen of Earlysville, she says diversity, equity, and inclusion undoubtedly drove the decision for the lottery system with the academics and the advanced tracks that Kelly is watching. I think we're both in agreement there. Here's the question we have. How are the graduation rates at the percentages she just identified when the math and science performance levels are at such meager percentages below 50%? Is the word or the phrase that we utilize social promotion? Is that what is happening here? Social promotion, and depending on who you ask, is promoting students from one grade to another, up the ladder, 10th grade to 11th grade, 7th grade to 8th grade, because a school system does not have the infrastructure or resources to hold students back based on poor academic performance.
Well, they can't fail. 50% is the lowest grade you can get.
Talk to us.
So if you don't take a test, or turn in a project, or turn in a homework, the lowest grade you can get is 50%. That's a passing grade, right? Is that? I think that is. So that's how the teachers are doing it. And I don't think the teachers necessarily want to pass these kids along. I don't think this is a teacher issue. I think Albemarle County, at least the ones I've taught my child so far, have been excellent. I think they're not getting a choice.
Isn't it a bad look for...
Three shot, Judah Wickower with a voice, so we don't just have the voice of God in the background. We'll have a 3-shot. Catherine Lochner would like for you to highlight the websites again where you got this information. Judah Wickower is going to jump in here with the 3-shot. We say happy birthday to Big Jim Wickower.
Oh, I just saw him. He's my neighbor.
Today is Jim Wickower's birthday. Jim, if you're watching, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dad.
What is on your mind, Judah Wickower?
I was just going to say, isn't it a bad look on schools if kids aren't graduating? I mean, I don't know how that affects their bottom line, if at all, but it certainly isn't. It certainly doesn't look good on statistics if you say, "Oh yeah, our school is in the bottom, whatever, 20% of Virginia schools for graduating students." So, isn't this a solution to that problem?
Maybe.
Is that not social promotion? The definition of social promotion, the practice of promoting a child to the next grade level regardless of skill mastery in the belief that it will promote self-esteem or help alleviate resource limitations. That's social promotion.
That certainly has to do with the self-esteem of the child, but I'm talking also about what if this is also a solution for schools not wanting to look bad because, 30% of their students are not graduating? So do you know what?
Instead of the school feeling like they're going to look bad, or the school system, create programs.
Okay, now solutions. People are asking for solutions. Here's the businesswoman here. Solutions, KJ.
Okay, so they have advanced placement programs, like my daughter is in. Why don't they have programs for children who need more support and more help? Where they can go slower, they can deep dive, they can take a little bit longer to learn. Maybe it adds an extra year of high school for them to get through the criteria that they need to be able to get through. But why can't we do that? Why is everybody having to be taught at the same level? I have dyslexia and I am the slowest reader. You are probably a very fast reader.
I am a very fast reader.
Okay, but why should we be in the same group? There's nothing wrong with you being a fast reader. There's nothing wrong with me being a slow reader.
No.
We need to address all 3 different groups of children and give them the opportunity to learn at the rate that they can learn at and to achieve the highest level of education that they can achieve.
Good comments right here from KJ. Questions coming in all over the feed. Janice Boyce Trevelyan on the I Love CVille Facebook page asks this question. Janice says, is school funding based on passing rates and graduation rates? Catherine Lochner, watching the program, you are very knowledgeable on this topic. Can you put the answer specifically to that question on the comment section of my Facebook page? Catherine Lochner, this is what Janice Boyce Trevelyan would like to know. Is school funding based on passing rates and graduation rates? If you can link directly to that, Catherine, we will relay it live on air. You've made the program better this week, Catherine Lochner. I'd like for you to highlight accreditations.
Sure. Okay, so on the same website, I'll repeat it again.
Yeah,
it's
please.
a government website, so I'm not like making things
She's
up
looking
here.
at it now.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah. What's the URL?
It is schoolquality.virginia.gov.
Okay.
Or you can just Google Virginia Department of Education School Quality Profiles. So there's a tab. You can click through all schools, or you can do it by district, zip code, or you can, So I looked up, I was like, I wonder what Monticello's accreditation is, right? So I type in my zip code.
Of course you would want to know that. Your daughter goes there.
Right.
Right?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to type in my zip code. Oh, that's wrong.
Comments are coming in.
Okay.
No, keep going.
Okay.
I'll fill now. She's literally doing research live on the fly, which we respect and appreciate. She's brought ammunition, facts, and data to the program to back up her firsthand perspective as a mom with a student at Monticello High School in the advanced track and a mom with a daughter in elementary school at St. Anne's Belfield. Both of them also used to attend the Covenant School. KJ, the show is yours.
Sure. So you can look by school on this site. Feel free. And then it tells you if it's accredited, how it's accredited, and then what it's ranked 1 through 3. Green, yellow, red for how the school is performing. So I was looking, and out of there's 24 schools in Albemarle. Okay. Apparently Greer, Mountain View, Red Hill, and Woodbrook were accredited with conditions. Okay, so I was like, what is that? Meaning their overall passing rate and 1 or more student demographic groups did not meet state standards. A waiver may be issued if a school has met standard for 3 years prior. Okay, so they didn't meet it last year. They met it 3 years prior. That's not great, but
no.
Okay. So then I was like, keep reading. In addition, further 8 schools would have been accredited with condition were it not for the waiver as described above. Elementary school, Agner Hurt, Scottsville, Stony Point, the middle schools, Burley and Journey, and high schools, Albemarle, Monticello, and Western Albemarle. Okay, so then I went to Monticello. In mathematics, they are at a level 3. Jerry, you're going to love this.
Okay, okay.
It also lists under these schools chronic absentees. Chronic absentees. So let's see how many chronic absentees. What do you think the number is for Monticello last year? Chronic absentees.
Chronic absentees.
Means more than 10% of the school year was missed.
Good Lord, that's a lot. Chronic absentees, more than 10% of the school year missed for an individual student.
Correct.
Are you looking for a percentage of the student body?
Yeah.
I would hope to God it's a single-digit percentage. By reading body language and knowing you, I know you fairly well here. It's probably not a single-digit percentage. I'm trying to gauge your poker face right now. There might not be one here. I'm going to say 14%.
22.32.
So
22% of the student body missed more than 10% of the year.
At Monticello High School.
At Monticello High School. You want me to do another one?
22+% of the student body at Monticello High School missed more than 10% of the school year?
That's what it says.
Did you hear that, Judah?
Hold on.
That is, keep going. Give us another one.
Okay.
Give us a handful more. Judah, jump in.
I think our guest yesterday mentioned some of this. I don't know if it was the same school or not, but she definitely talked about the rate that kids were not showing up at least 10% of the time. And
Albemarle High?
And the thing is, at least 10% could be anywhere from 11% to or
well, she's got specific data here.
Yeah.
Specific data today. Albemarle High School, yes, please.
Albemarle High School, level 3 in mathematics.
Okay.
Bad. And let's see. Okay, this one's a little better, but not much.
Okay.
19.45.
19.45. 20% of the student body basically is missing more than 10% of the school year?
Yeah.
At Albemarle?
Do you know Crozet zip code?
Crozet zip code. Let me see. I'm Googling Western Albemarle High School right now.
Yeah, let's
Okay, let's go Western Albemarle High School. Western Albemarle High School zip code is 22932.
Okay.
22932. Interestingly, as she's finding that data, we're hearing the enrollment at Western Albemarle High School and at Henley Middle School is dropping. When enrollment drops at schools that have otherwise been dubbed, air quotes, Stab West, that's a sign of concern. The data, KJ.
Okay, Western is 12.72, so better.
Still, though.
That's not good.
13%
right.
of the student body is missing more than 10% of the school year. That's astronomical. Janice Boyce Trevelyan, Catherine Lochner has confirmed on another Facebook page that school funding is not based on graduation rates. Janice Boyce Trevelyan says Jerry, Judah, and Kelly are the truancy rates and percentages directly associated with the school bus transportation issues. It's a good question.
This is data from last year.
Okay, so this is last year data.
Because this data is based off of the SOLs and other, SOLs, basically.
So what does this tell you? We'll just go, you've given us fantastic data, you've backed up your commentary with facts. What is this telling you just as a mom and a businesswoman here? What is your take on this?
I think groups of children, students, are being left behind, which is not fair, and I hate to use the word fair because life isn't fair, and I get it.
Yeah.
But they're not getting the education and support that they deserve.
The stinky part about this, and yes, I said stinky, the stinky part about this is children. And it's very different when we're talking about life not being fair, when it's an adult, when it's someone like the three of us, where we can dictate a lot of our lives.
Correct.
By how we go about our decision making, our hard work, and the choices we make. With children, they don't have that luxury in all cases.
No.
A lot of times they're a product of their environments.
Right.
So maybe that applies even more so with the children because they're products of their environment, which is the point you're making.
That's the point I'm making. And again, the solution that I would bring to the table.
Yeah, solutions, here we go.
Is create a program like the STEM programs in schools for children who have either fallen behind or need more academic support. Right? Maybe it takes them an extra year to graduate, but it goes at a pace that they are able to comprehend and learn and be successful. Then you have your students who go on their merry way, run-of-the-mill smart kids, learn at normal pace, and then you have the STEM programs for higher achieving people. That way, all three demographics are being taught to where they currently are and where they need to be learning. Let's not take high achievers and bring them down a level to meet everyone else's needs. Let's not try to speed up children who might not be at that bar yet and set them up for failure.
Do they no longer have that?
Are you three-shotting?
I'm about to.
Please, that way we don't just have the
I know.
The omniscient voice.
You have to have a plan, so they have to be children that get extra support have to have you have to turn in a lot of forms and things and essentially be diagnosed with something that is preventing you from learning.
Do they not have various tiers of classes in schools anymore?
They have.
Well, her daughter's in the top tier at Monticello High School.
So they have honors, though. So they have normal classes.
Yeah.
Honors classes, AP classes, and dual enrollment classes. But
I don't know exactly what's available.
She's explaining it. She's explaining it. Yeah. So, I apologize. She's got the answers here. Yeah.
So the normal classes, that's what everyone takes. Okay. So a dual enrollment is an upper level class where you get college credit and high school credit. AP classes, you take a test an AP test at the end of the year, if you get a certain score or higher on it, colleges will also take that as a college class. And then honors is just a faster pace moving class than a normal class. But if you're not succeeding in a normal class, there's nothing for you to do. And then you get a 50 and they push you on. So you get a 50 in Algebra 1.
And you go to Algebra 2 or Algebra 2 Trig or Geometry, how the heck are you going to perform well at an advanced level of math that's based on the concepts you did not pick up the year before? That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, how does someone get promoted to bartender if they don't understand the concepts of waiter or busboy? A bartender is about customer service, and it's oftentimes a more hectic environment than a waiter who has set 3 or 4 tables. A bartender has to service the entire bar. So if you get a promotion from waiter to busboy or waiter to bartender, and you stink as a waiter, you're probably going to stink as a bartender. That's what you're saying.
That's right. And listen, some kids need extra time and help. There is nothing wrong with that. Why couldn't they offer for the kids who really struggle, let's say in math? We looked at the numbers. A lot of kids are not doing well in math. I don't know how many math credits you have to have. I think 3. So do 1 year is half of Algebra 1. You go at a slower pace. You really dive into knowing what algebra is. The next year, you do the second half of Algebra 1. Then at least you have the concepts.
I mean, I think you're speaking so straightforward and so, like, in the business world, which is the world you and I are in, this is like as obvious as we need profits to keep our business working and oxygen for us to breathe to stay alive.
Yeah. Do you know what else I think would help?
But it's not so obvious in education. Why the heck not? And what else do you think would be obvious that would help?
I think the homework situation, right? They can't have graded homework. I think what would help with these numbers of children who are falling behind would be at the beginning of the school year, homework is given and graded. After you take your first exam, if you have an average of 70 or above in that class, your homework is optional. As long as you keep an average of 70 or above in that class, homework is optional. If not, obviously that child needs more practice on that topic. And it will help their grade because they're going to have more data points to help their grade improve versus one data point. And that's why they changed the testing to a 50%, right? Because, and I get it, but I think they did the opposite of what they should have done. So the school system said, okay, the lowest grade you can get is a 50. Because if one child really screws up one test, and they only have, let's say, 4 tests of the semester, if you get a straight 100 on one test and a 0 on another, you still end up with a 50. You know, so it's going to be hard to dig out of that 0 hole. Okay, well, instead of changing the 0 to a 50, if you give them more graded assignments, that test won't be as weighted.
Seems obvious, right?
To me and you, and we're not even teachers.
Right. And we need to emphasize this for everyone that's watching the program. We stand by and we champion the teachers.
This is not a teacher decision.
This is not an indictment on the teachers.
Absolutely not.
Teachers watching the program, what we're trying to utilize and do here with this platform and this interview is to highlight what we think are issues and systematic failures at the top of the totem pole with the school board and Dr. Matthew Haas, the superintendent, and his cabinet at ACPS. Dr. Matthew Haas and the superintendent and the cabinet and the school board, and I'm going to ask you a very straightforward question here.
Okay.
I don't mind, I got the thick skin, you know this.
Yeah.
Dr. Matthew Haas, the superintendent of Albemarle County Public Schools, and the school board seem to be so laser focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion that they're creating systematic failures for the pyramid. You take it like a triangle. You got an important topic, a critically important topic, diversity, equity, and inclusion. But in the grand scheme of topics in schools, that's one topic. If you look at the triangle, the base of the triangle has a boatload of other topics that need to be addressed as well, besides diversity, equity, and inclusion. But because leadership is so laser focused on DEI, they're ignoring all the other topics that also need attention, which is creating systematic failures in the school system and leaving generations of students behind, certainly their private school peers, and certainly the self-motivated kids and driven kids like her oldest daughter.
Jerry,
anywhere you want to go. Please.
First of all, I stand by the teachers, and I know a lot of teachers that are in Albemarle County School, and they don't like how they're being forced to teach. I say, you hired the teachers for a reason. They're very educated. A majority of them have masters in education. Let them teach. Let them run their classroom. Let them make decisions for their students, because they're the ones that are working with them. And what might work for one group of kids in one class might not work for a different group of kids in the same class. You got to be able to pivot and give them the responsibility and respect to let them make decisions for their students.
Amen.
Right?
Props.
Okay, so I was looking at the school board meeting, right? I'm going to have to pull up my messages I sent you. And they're talking about, and this is on the Albemarle County website, school website. So it's like k12albemarle.org. So they are starting to teach culturally responsive teaching.
Culturally responsive teaching. Interestingly, the first three letters of the words culturally responsible teaching are CRT.
Okay, so I was like, okay.
Is that not right?
Yes, yes, that is correct.
I mean, it's a hell of a coincidence.
I mean, yeah. Hold on, I said I screenshotted this to you. I'm going to have to go back.
Jump in. While she's finding that screenshot, Judah
it.
Wickhauer, I believe you had something on your mind that you want to add there. If you did not, I got some comments that are coming in as well. She's finding that. We can get J-Dubs in the mix because his perspective is valued on this network.
I just wanted to provide another perspective on that, considering that you run restaurants, and I kind of, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I understand that public schools are beholden to, they're beholden to a lot of different things, and part of that is making a what would you call it? It's like you always cook your bowls of soup the same way every
standards
time, at every store, and in that way, I think while I love what you're saying, I think that when it comes to teachers in the schools, they're probably they're held to certain curriculum standards, is what you're saying. They have to do things a certain way.
Curriculum standards.
So while it would be nice,
standards, I get. Like, you have to hit
certain performance goals.
But
certain subjects have to be taught.
Right.
You have to meet the SOL standards to justify your job. That's what you guys are saying. Isn't that what you're saying? That's what you're saying succinctly. So go ahead.
Not really, but
follow. Okay. What are you saying then?
I'm saying that they have certain ways that they have to run things. They can't just go off script and
curriculum standards.
Yeah.
Curriculum standards. Okay.
Okay, but take math, for example. Albemarle County is doing poorly at math. Math is a repetitive thing you learn. I don't just tell you once as your kid, Jerry. You don't tell your kid, hey, 2 + 2 is 4, and then move on. When you do flashcards, and you repeat, and practice, and repeat, and practice, and repeat, and practice. It's called homework. Some things, like history, you might not need to repeat and practice over and over and over. So you can't teach, one math teacher teaching one math subject might need to do it differently than something else, right? Does that make sense?
I'm with you. Keep going.
And if I'm a teacher in a classroom, I want to have the ability to teach my students the best way I think they're going to learn that. I don't need some higher up who's not in the classroom, who doesn't know my students or their needs, to tell me how to teach. If I have a master's in education, I think I'm capable of hitting benchmarks but doing it the way I want to do it.
Keep talking to us.
Okay. So I was like, okay, let's look at this cultural responsive teaching. I was like, that sounds interesting. I am 1,000% in support of cultural acceptance, awareness, equality. So I was like, okay. So then I went to this book. It's called Cultural Responsive Teaching and the Brain. That's this textbook that the teachers are going to be certified on. Okay. In the textbook, you can see it. It's on Albemarle County's website. You can look up the book. I'm reading it verbatim. The author says, many children start school with small learning gaps, but as they progress through school, the gap between African American and Latino and white student grows because we don't teach them how to be independent learners. Based on these labels, we usually do the following. Underestimate what disadvantaged students are intellectually capable of doing. As a result, we postpone more challenging and interesting work until we believe they had mastered the basics. And number 3, by focusing only on low-level basics, we are depriving students of a meaningful or motivating content for learning and practicing higher-order thinking processes. Is that not what Albemarle County is doing?
I mean, it seems so.
They're saying, don't teach down. Teach up. I don't know. I feel like the free 50 is a step in the wrong direction. And this is what Albemarle County is saying they want to implement and are going to implement. And I am 1,000% in support of what this author is saying, right?
Why is it going this way?
I don't know. Because the teachers, Jerry, the feedback you're getting from the teachers is they don't want it to go this way, right?
No. Like the teacher, our guest tomorrow, Mr. Bill.
Yeah, I read that. That was a good.
Phenomenal letter. Mr. Bill wrote a letter that literally is on the I Love CVille Instagram that we've highlighted on ilovecville.com, almost respectfully imploring the school board to stop doing this. Right? I mean, that's the whole gist of his letter. Is like, you're watering down students right now, is the gist of his letter. Right. He's going to join us on the show tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. to talk specifically about grading in Albemarle County Public Schools.
Is he currently a teacher?
No, he retired. One of the reasons he retired, he got a bachelor's of science in math in 2006. He's got 12 years, not retirement, 12 years, right?
Right.
In public schools, Fluvanna and Albemarle County. I'm not going to speak for him, okay? I'll ask him this question. But one of the reasons he retired was because he was disenchanted. My word, not his. I would imagine that word applies. Disenchanted with the school system. Now he's in the private sector as a software developer. So this guy, because he's not employed by ACPS anymore,
can say whatever he wants.
Can say whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
And he's coming on the show tomorrow to stand up for the teachers.
Do you know what I think would be helpful? Again, solutions, right? If you're not transparent, the rumor mill and people are going to make assumptions, negative assumptions.
Amen.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take the rebranding costs, which we have, and we're saving that for...
Oh, I can't wait.
We're saving that.
Okay.
Because this topic, I don't want I'm getting asked constantly, why not share the rebranding costs? Because I don't want the totality of these rebranding costs, which we have, to get lost in the shuffle here.
Right.
They deserve their own attention.
Yeah.
And if I had brought up this week with a phenomenal guest like you and a phenomenal guest like Dr. Bryce and Mr. Bill, they would have gotten lost in the shuffle. So we're going to give it its own spotlight here. Right. Go ahead.
I'm suggesting that Matt Haas and the school board go to each high school, Monticello, Albemarle, Western. Anyone in those districts or are zoned for those high school are welcome to come and do a town hall meeting like they do, like elected officials do. And it's not about defending your position. It's about letting people stand up, ask real questions.
Matt Haas would never do this.
But isn't that a problem?
It's so problematic. He would never do this.
If you're in charge of something and you're unwilling to talk to who you're supposed to be supporting and representing, there's something wrong. That's like a CEO never talking to their employees.
That's exactly right. That's like the CEO of a publicly traded company never having earnings calls.
Oh, yes, exactly. Because we're not employees. We actually are paying.
Right. Never having earnings calls of its publicly traded company. Now, Neil Williamson's going to say a public school is completely different than running a business. And I respect that comment. President of the Free Enterprise Forum, king of content, Neil Williamson, friend of the program, all around A+. The
commodity is more important. It's called children.
All around A+ guy. Okay, and it's a fair point. But there's a common denominator here. And the common denominator is this. When you run a school system in clandestine fashion, it creates rumor mill and conjecture, and it creates conspiracy theorists. A perfect example of this is the rebranding costs with these schools. They were not anywhere online. No one could find the rebranding costs. It took me, and the only reason I got them is because I have this massive following of people, and I said to Dr. Haas, if you don't give me these numbers within 3 business days, right, I'm going to tell everyone that you're hiding something. So I got a response.
Well,
I got a response from it.
Why isn't it public? Why?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't understand that. Listen, I didn't get an email from the school board or Matt Haas saying, hey, FYI, Monticello's math numbers are very low. Our accreditation is on the line.
Take it even more.
Here's the plan.
I apologize for interrupting. Take it even more specific to your oldest daughter. Okay, your oldest daughter. Did you find out that is it HSMA?
Yeah.
HSMA, Health
Medical HMSA. Yeah.
Health Medical Science and the Academy. Okay, a badass school within Monticello, right?
It's amazing.
Phenomenal curriculum within Monticello.
The teachers are amazing. It's great.
To the point where she is a woman in a family of means, significant means, and had the opportunity to put her oldest into private school, pretty much anyone they wanted, right?
Yeah.
Anyone they wanted, but instead chose to put her oldest daughter in this public school program because it was phenomenal. Phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Am I accurate here?
Accurate.
Okay.
We even had her skip 8th grade so she could get into the program because they're not offering it for freshmen this school year.
Okay, did you hear that? So did you get notified that the program's criteria for getting in changed, and now it went from key performance indicators like academic performance to being able to apply, and that folks from any zip code could get in? Did you get notified about that?
Well, no, I didn't get notified, but I didn't need to be notified because when I was filling out the it's not an application, but sign her up to get in the program.
Yeah.
And I was like, she had just taken the PSAT as a 7th grader, and I was like,
I took him as a 7th grader as well.
Yeah. Here's her PSAT numbers. Here's her grade point average. Here's a letter from the current head of the middle school she attended. Like, what else? Here's her transcript. And everyone was just like, oh, okay, that's great. She's in.
Well, because she was a stud, a rock star,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you not bristled? I mean, bristled at best, meaning, caught off guard that it's now watered down?
I mean,
are you pissed?
I mean, I'm pissed for her, right? I'm pissed for her because
it's been watered down, right?
It's watered down.
Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, the classes are still hard, right?
But it's not the top achievers now.
No, but the sad thing is those children who are not at that level of academia are failing. Whereas if they were just in every day, they would be succeeding. So it's really hurting.
It's hurting both students.
Both students.
Because your daughter, and we're being very frank here, frank here. Your daughter is in a classroom with students who aren't necessarily performing at your daughter's clip.
Correct.
So the teacher who has to teach for the students in the classroom is spending time teaching students that aren't at your daughter's clip.
Correct.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Like, for example, she has, I think, her lowest grade in all of her classes, I think, is like at a 96%. Some kids in her classes are failing every test. She lost it when she got like an 88 on a test. She retook it, because you can do that, which I agree with, by the way. I think you should be able to retake it once. Why not? But yeah, she has friends that fail tests all the time and don't care.
So what are you going to do? You keep her in the same program?
Keep her in the program, because what's the alternative? It's a great program. And she's very self-motivated, so she's going to learn, the education she's getting is good. But because she's self-motivated. But I feel awful for the kids who don't even want to be in that program and their parents made them, or just because they want to go to Monticello. What does that do to your self-esteem? What kind of colleges are you going to get in?
I mean, it's such a mess here.
I still agree with the town hall meeting. Let's parents stand up. Ask real questions.
Connie Sylvester is watching the program, and what you're saying is resonating with her. Would you run for school board, Kelly Jackson?
I can't. I would if I could, but I can't.
What's that?
Sorry, I got to give a shout out to Connie.
Okay, Judah highlighted Connie's name. Did you say anything to Connie? Okay, you sure? Yeah. Okay, would you run for school board? People are asking you to run for school board.
Well, that is very sweet. I would if I felt like I could give the time and energy a position like that deserves. Unfortunately, with my kids at home that I'm very invested in, and then this new restaurant concept we're building out in DC and Northern Virginia, I just don't think I could give it the time that it really deserves. So.
Okay, that's fair, and respect that people are asking that question.
I do. Thank you so much.
What can you compare and contrast the concern the very real concern I have, and the concern my wife and I are literally dealing with right now with our soon-to-be kindergarten of public versus private? We're seeing that private schools do have homework. The homework is graded. The homework is reviewed. It's collected. It's checked to make sure it's done. There's grades and tests. There's passing. There's failing. There's legitimate A, B, C's, D's, E's, F's. Right. I mean, you don't do well, you're not coming back. The impact that this could have on the kids that are in private schools versus the ones that are in this, and I have even a hard time saying this, equitable grading. Equitable grading is a freaking oxymoron.
I don't understand.
Equitable. The whole point of grading is to decide folks that are doing well, great, not so good, average, poorly, failing. You can't have equitable grading. That is an oxymoron. Parting is such sweet sorrow. William Shakespeare. Equitable grading is ridiculous. Private school, public school, and how this is undoubtedly creating not only an educational gap, but a wealth gap. So many gaps here. I could go on and on, but I want you to have the show here.
Sure.
Your show, anywhere you want to go.
I think Covenant, for example, like I said, my oldest was a Covenant all through until she switched to Monticello as a freshman. She has the study skills that she learned at Covenant. She has the work ethic to do well at school that she learned from Covenant. And she has the mentality that I need to work outside of the classroom on my studies to achieve the grades that I want. She learned those skills at Covenant, private school. Now, if none of my kids have gone for elementary school, so maybe somebody could answer that. If you have kids in elementary school or middle school in the public school system, do you think your children are prepared to do a couple hours of homework? Do they have the study habits where they can study at home by themselves and achieve the grades they want to or able to achieve?
Well, a perfect example of this was the mom who asked for anonymity on yesterday's show, who said, my daughter went from elementary school in ACPS to elementary school at Covenant.
Right.
And her daughter struggled. Like the mom said, our daughter has struggled with the transition.
Right. That
she went from not having homework and really being able to just pay attention in the class and then take the test and do really well at ACPS. And then when she went to Covenant, there was homework. Like hours. Okay.
Hours.
Explain.
Middle school, Lena had hours of homework.
In what grade?
Starting in 5th, 6th grade. It starts,
and your daughter's smart as hell.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is she not?
She's hella smart.
And she had hours. Okay.
My 8-year-old has homework. My 8-year-old has 40 minutes of homework a day. 20 minutes of math, 20 English reading, spell words, whatever. She has 40 minutes. And she's in 3rd grade.
Like, what do you say to, and I got some hate on Instagram about this from a follower on the I Love CVille Instagram. What do you say to the people that are like, oh, hours of homework each night is just baby boomers talking?
I think hours of homework is too much.
You do? Okay.
I do.
Wow. Okay, I didn't expect this. Go ahead.
Hours of homework is way too much.
Okay.
These kids are in school all day. They might have sports, debate team, Dungeons and Dragons club, just whatever.
Sure.
Right?
They're kids.
They're kids. I think extracurriculars, even at a high school level, whether they be athletic or for fun, are very important.
No doubt. Agreed. Then why do you keep her in with an hours of homework setting?
I think hours is too much. I think in certain topics that need repetitive behavior to be able to understand the concept. For example, a foreign language, right? You really need to repeat over and over and over how to say, I'd like a beer, please, in Spanish. Right? You're not going to learn that right away.
Yo quiero una cerveza, por favor.
Thank you.
There you go.
And I think hours is just too much, but I think, 20 minutes per subject, because they take 4 classes a day.
Okay.
One of them's an elective. So 3 to 4 classes a day.
You're looking at an hour and 20 minutes in that scenario.
I think that's appropriate and fair. Because then you have the 40 minutes before school if you don't get a chance to do it after school.
How is this going to impact? Okay, here's another very straightforward question to you. I would imagine you have nearly 700 employees. Is that right?
About, yeah.
Okay.
I'd like more. If you need a job, hit me up.
She's hiring more people.
Hiring. Always hiring. Hiring.
Okay. Are some of those employees high school age?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're great employees.
They're great employees.
Great employees, yeah.
When does the employer start to vet candidacy at a place of business when it applies to public versus private school curriculums and educations and tracks? I'm not saying you guys do, I'm just talking hypothetically. Hypothetically. Is an employer, say down the road, hypothetical terms, an employer knows that right now in public schools in Albemarle County, homework is not required, graded, right?
Right.
At ACPS. But homework is required, graded, reviewed, collected in private schools.
Right.
When does an employer say, look at the resume, where do they go to school? Perhaps this is how we vet who we hire, because good Lord, at night, they're having to learn work ethic and practice habits to get to the finish line in a classroom at this particular setting, but not in this particular setting. And work ethic and practice habits and getting to the finish line are exactly what we do in our place of business.
Right. I mean, if I was in your business or a financial institution or some business like that, I think it might affect my choice for like interns or who I'm going to hire for summer help or work.
It's not just college folks. This is like real life applications here, right?
Listen, college is not for everybody, and I am a huge, huge fan of trade schools. There's never going to be enough electricians, plumbers, welders, auto mechanics. I strongly believe in higher education, whether that be a community college, an Ivy League school, a state school, or a trade school. I think you should be prepared for all of them.
You're getting the nod from Judah Wickhauer. Jump in here. Judah B. Wickhauer's opinion is valued very much on this program. I love to weave you into the show. One of the reasons I love to weave this man into the show, he's a single man that does not have kids in the school system, so his opinion is not...
Literally no skin in the game.
Okay. Literally. That's why your opinion, I think, is extremely valuable. I was having that comment with somebody I was having this interaction with a gentleman who's 26 that wanted to come on the show and is adamant about coming on the show to the point where he sends me DMs once or twice a month about coming on the show. I said, 26-year-old, I am getting what you can provide times 50 from this man who is in his 40s and has 20 plus years of experience on life than you do. Okay? Literally the same perspective this other person could offer. I value your opinion on this topic. You have no skin in the game. Anywhere you want to go.
Oh, I agree completely with what you were just saying, Kelly. I think part of the problem with the schools today is that they just want to treat all the kids the same. And the thing is, They're not all the same. Some of them are artists. Some of them are directors.
Right.
Some of them are, some of them are engineers. Some of them are, mathematicians. They all have different needs. They all want different things. And I think I mentioned this on a previous show, and I agree that there's an age where you're too young, where you're still learning. You still need the math and the science and the art. You need all those things to broaden your perspective and be able to decide when you're old enough which path you want to take. But I also believe that at some point you need to start separating the kids out and saying, look, this kid is never going to be a mathematician.
Yeah.
He's never an artist.
He's 17 years old. Never passed with,
My son, I can tell you,
we give him an automatic 50, so he automatically passes the math classes, but he's not going to go to college and study, theoretical mathematics. So at some point, you need to say, look, what is it that you love?
Yeah.
We need to start developing what our kids love rather than just running them through the puppy mill and...
Diploma mill.
Yeah, but you just treat them all the same, and then you shoo them off to go find their way. And before you do that, I think you need to impress upon them, look, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you're good at? Help them find that. Help them find passion in something.
Damn good.
Germany does that.
Talk to us.
That's how Germany does their education system. You go to school, I think, until you're middle school, and then after middle school, you decide what career direction you want to go in, and then you go and just either do it or go and study for that. I don't think that's bad. That's never going to happen here. But
my wife is watching the program right now, and she would echo what I'm about to say. Our kid is 4.5. Okay. We drive in the car. We love to play music, okay? My Pandora station right now is the Jason Derulo Pandora station, okay? So we are bumping and we're dancing and having a good time with Jason Derulo playing in our Explorer, okay? Our son is starting to realize, this is Señorita, the song Señorita, and he's singing the song Señorita. You hear our son sing Señorita for 25 seconds, and my wife and I laugh, and then we start to be like this, and we realize right now our son is never going to be a singer.
Right.
He's in kindergarten. He is never going to be a singer. Right. He's got I love our son. My wife loves our son. He's got a terrible voice. Okay? Let's talk about art. Our son has the commitment to art that what has a very short attention span besides me watching a movie, okay? A hummingbird has a very short attention span.
Sure.
Our son has the attention span for art of a hummingbird. He can't even draw a straight line, okay? Him coloring in the lines is grabbing a marker and 3 crayons in each hand and going like this for 10 seconds and say, Daddy, isn't this pretty? I'm done. And I'm like, yes, son, this is great.
Right.
Okay? He's never going to be an artist. okay? And we know this. We eventually need to realize that our kids have skill sets that maybe they came out of the womb with, or they have God-given, you would say, or they have talents that they'd like to pursue because they're interested, that can be nurtured and matured and taught and refined. And once we realize as parents that our kids aren't good at everything, they're good at a couple things, a few things, but not everything, and we start setting up our kids for success in the areas that they're good at or they're interested in, our kids are going to be awesome. But if we think that every kid should get a trophy just for participation, that's going to breed failure, because that's not how real life works. Would I love to have played in the National Basketball Association and been LeBron James? Yes. The reality is I'm 5'7" and 148 pounds, and I can't jump over a phone book. I'm not going to play in the NBA, but I'm good with words, I'm good with writing, I have the gift of human connection, and I'm a hell of a leader, okay? And my parents fostered those traits. They put me in speech and debate and forensics. They encouraged me to be the captain of the soccer team, or they encouraged me to be National Honor Society, like involved as an elected guy in there, okay? They pushed that. They didn't say, Jerry, I'm gonna force you into AAU basketball, and we're gonna spend an entire summer traveling all over the eastern seaboard and allow you to defend 6'5", 40-inch verticals that can attack the rack and jump over you. No, Dad said you suck at basketball.
Move on.
Move on. Do this. And we did. And it's a tough pill to swallow initially, but it's the best kind of parenting.
I agree. Well, that's what I did for my oldest. She's a math and science person, wanted to be a doctor. So I said, well, here's the program that focuses on that. But to your point, Judah, I agree. And when you were talking, I was starting to think maybe the curriculum is part of the issue.
Okay.
Meaning, if you have to have 3 math credits to graduate, why does that math have to be Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry? Why couldn't a math credit be like
hands-on, like
math in the real world?
How to balance your
checkbook. How to pay a bill.
Good Lord, how many people have asked for how many years if we could actually learn something useful in grade school?
Right. So like what? And maybe changing the curriculum could be a solution, right? To helping these kids get life skills.
Vanessa Porkle says what Judah is describing sounds similar to the Montessori approach.
Oh,
self-guided exploration promotes lifelong learning.
I was in a Montessori kindergarten, and here's an interesting story. I loved it. I think I may have told this before, but of course, who knows who was watching at that point. We had I believe it was kindergarten. We had a bead was 1, the number 1. A string of 10 beads was 10. Flat 2 by 10 by 10 was 100 beads, and then you had a cube that was 1,000. I loved the tactile quality and the ability to illustrate concepts without just writing them on a piece of paper and saying this is what it means. And the thing is, I had the hardest time dealing with fractions in I think it was 5th grade. I was probably getting D's in math because I just couldn't wrap my mind around what a fraction was, 1/4, and how that multiplies another fraction and it gets smaller. Wait, I thought multiplication was about making numbers bigger. It just didn't make any sense. And you know what I needed? I needed a tactile, I needed something to illustrate the mathematical concepts to my brain. And once it clicked, and I never had a problem with math again. I always did great in my classes. All you need to do is give me a formula, and I figured out how you plug the numbers in, what it meant, what it did. I would ace my tests. My teachers hated me because I'd sit in the back of the class and draw. And then I'd get 96s and 100s on my tests. The problem is the schools after Montessori, we're all just doing it one way. And I know there are probably teachers out there that look at a student and say, look, I know you need a different way to learn this. Let me help you out. But not every teacher can do that, especially not in a classroom of 20, 30 students, and you've got an hour to teach your next lesson plan. But yeah, different students need different ways of learning. Some people are more up here, some people are more here. Like when I was sitting in class, drawing helped actually keep me engaged. Because if I wasn't doing something with my hand that was connected to my brain, then my mind would just go off somewhere else.
You want to know, and you know this, we did a tour of St. Anne's.
Yeah,
my wife
it's a great school.
Great school. They're teaching a math curriculum now called Singapore Math.
Both of my kids did Singapore Math.
Singapore Math. Have you ever heard about this? Did you know about this?
Yeah, because both my kids went to Covenant, and Covenant and Stab started doing Singapore Math.
Singapore Math.
It's very fascinating.
It's fascinating.
It's like kind of like the mental math, as well as like you really learn the root of the math.
Singapore Math, the approach encourages flexible and creative thinking and problem solving, covering topics in depth and teaching to mastery. Students learn by progressing through a concrete pictorial abstract sequences. This is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Students first encounter mathematical concepts through the use of concrete, hands-on manipulatives. Then they move on to the pictorial stage of math, which pictures are used for model problems. Later, when students are familiar with the ideas taught, they progress to abstract stage in which only numbers, notation, and symbols are used. The concepts are taught at each grade level, lay the foundation, and prepare for the students for content they will learn in the next grade. It's called Singapore Math.
My high schooler did Singapore Math all through Covenant. She literally can do any mathematical problem in her head in a snap.
Wow.
Because of the foundation, how she learned.
Of Singapore Math.
Yeah.
Right. And
it's fascinating.
It's fascinating.
I don't understand it, but she learned it, and it helps her.
Completely different than how we were taught math when we were growing up.
Flashcards.
We're essentially the same age, everyone here. How we learned math was memorization.
Yeah, flash.
Remember? It was the freaking flashcards.
Yes.
Right.
And the math songs.
How did we learn our times tables? We're all basically the same age here. Yeah. It was our parents. We were fortunate. We probably had parents that were very active and involved. Yeah. Grinding with us.
In the car.
Like on the way to school.
Right.
What is 9 times 9? Right. What is 9 times, and did I learn it or did I memorize it?
Memorized it.
You memorized it. With the Singapore Math, it is learned, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah. And again, when I say that I didn't have a problem with math after that in high school, it was great, but all that stuff is gone. Like I would learn a formula, and when I get to a test, I knew how to apply the formula. But take me to the next year and ask me what formula was for what, and I learned it for the test.
Well, do you know what I think? The internet and the accessibility to the internet and Google and spell check and like a digital calculator, I think that's really changed access to information.
100%.
But I don't think the school's curriculum, public school specific curriculum, has changed to that level of access. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. They're basically, what she's basically saying is, why are the curriculums forcing the students to go through these arduous and time-consuming steps when a phone or a computer can help make those steps instantaneous?
Right.
Instead, teach the concepts behind the steps and or stuff that is more applicable to everyday life. Kevin Yancey puts on the feed right now civics. Remember civics?
I loved civics in high school.
Old school shop class or civics class?
Totally agree. How about, let's learn some useful things. Like, maybe it's like a home ec class that teaches you how to sew a button on your own shirt. Right?
Yeah.
Or, how do you pay a bill? How do you set up an online account? How do you show up for a job interview?
How do you write a resume? Jinx, touch something red. I just did. Buy me a Coke. You owe me a Coke over there. Okay? How do you write a resume? That is a damn good lesson.
So
how do you conversate with an employer at a job interview?
Right. How do you have a meaningful discussion where you might disagree with someone?
How do you dress for a job interview?
Oh man, that's something that I think every student, young child, old, and adults need to learn.
How do you follow up with an employer after an interview?
Right.
How often should you follow up? How do you craft an email?
I am agreeing. So give the students a path, like, for example, my oldest, who knows she wants to be in the medical, sciencey, mathy field. Let her have a pathway to that, which she does, where she's really learning things that are going to be useful and that she's going to have to know to be a doctor. But the student who wants to be a plumber, great job. If you start your own, let him take a class on being take a class on being an entrepreneur. How do you start a business?
Kevin Yancey, how do you, what do you dress? How do you dress when you appear in court? How about this question? Cell phones are a drug addiction. I've highlighted this. My wife would say I have a serious problem with cell phone usage, and I undoubtedly do. And it is a point of friction for our relationship, my time spent on this device. She would echo this and absolutely say, yes, it is. Okay? It is an addiction. How about this? What is the right amount of time to use cell phones? What is the right amount of time to be on social media? What social media apps could be dangerous? How do you keep from getting groomed on the internet from people that are catfishing you with nefarious intentions that could be sexual or devious? Is that being taught?
No.
Right?
Well, private schools it is.
Private schools? Is it taught at public schools?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. How to set up your LinkedIn profile. Some would say the most important platform of all the social ones. LinkedIn, where it's a job application or a betterment platform that can help you pursue financial and professional gain.
How about how to type?
Okay. There's another one.
I feel like these are, I think they should, students and their parents, or whoever their guardians, should be able to have different career paths, and parents should also have a say, right? Like, my child is not going to be a mathematician ever, so they need basic algebra, and then the next math class should be math in the real world. They don't need trigonometry.
Right.
Right?
Who right now in the professional world has ever used the Pythagorean theorem in their job? Kelly, do you know what the Pythagorean theorem is?
I'm sure I learned it.
Judah. No. Don't look it up.
I'm getting a lot of
SOHCAHTOA?
SOHCAHTOA is not the Pythagorean theorem. That is sine opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine, opposite over adjacent. Toa, tangent, toa. Opposite over hypotenuse.
You're not even.
Oh, I just got it right. I just got it right. The Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Oh. Yeah. I never use that in my everyday life.
Okay. A squared plus b squared, c squared. Does anyone know what pi is?
Oh, it's 3.147.
There you go, 3.14. That's all you got to say is 3.14.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay?
But have I ever used that besides
That's what I'm
math class?
saying.
No, 0%.
Algebra 2 trig. Has anyone used Algebra 2
Unless
trig?
you're an accountant or
does an accountant even use it? I don't even think they do. My dad's a CPA.
That's good.
They have software programs.
Scientists use it, I bet.
That's different. Does anyone ever use calculus or pre-calculus to sell real estate, host a talk show, manage a rental portfolio, been a veterinarian? I mean,
an architect might use
that.
But then if you're really good at math and you want to keep pursuing mathematic endeavors, then algebra 2 and trig are available for you to take.
There you go.
But if you're not going to do that, take the real world math class.
Gosh,
we're solving problems.
Right.
Fix the criteria.
There you go. Adjust. What was?
And I bet the scores would go up because you're not putting these kids who are not prepared for trig into trig, because they're not strong in math. They're not learning real world math, getting good grades, and those grades will even out.
They don't need it to become a chef. They don't need it to become a singer. They don't need it to become. There are so many.
An artist.
Yeah. If the teaching were tailored to the to the path.
There, 100%. What was the cliche word of the first year of COVID? Turned into such a cliche, the word.
Pivot.
Pivot. There it is. It was a cliche. We had to pivot throughout the pandemic, constantly.
So let's pivot now.
Why hasn't the curriculum pivoted like human beings had to pivot during COVID?
I don't think that's a school board issue, though. Isn't that? I think that's a state issue. Right?
Catherine Lochner.
That's why I was saying.
Is Catherine Lochner. Is that state?
I think it's state.
I think there are standards by which most teachers have to follow.
No doubt.
Is why I was saying that I don't think they have the freedom to just step outside the box or the lane or whatever you want to call it and say, okay, I've got 5 students here that are great at math. I've got 10 that need something a little more tactile to really make it, stick in their brains. And I've got 10 other kids that probably shouldn't be here. And this is never going to help them. They're never going to use it. And their time and mental what's
capacity?
Not even capacity. Just what they're spending their time thinking of.
Acumen?
This is just a waste of their time. This is not going to do anything for them trying to, teach them this. They could eventually learn it by rote, given enough time, but these are human beings that will be better suited spending their time doing something that they're passionate about.
100%.
And will push them towards their eventual goal.
Bravo. Well said. Judah's made the program better today. 150. I want to wind down with anything that we haven't covered from your standpoint that needs to get out there. There's a school board meeting tonight. Sarah Hill Buchensky has said, and she's got kids in private school, the smaller scale of private schools allows them to tailor programs and pivot quickly when needed. However, an overhaul of ACPS curriculum and class offerings would take years, unfortunately. Years. And Catherine Lochner has confirmed the state develops the diploma requirements curriculum. Catherine Lochner, you've made the program better today. She's run for school board in the past. In fact, I believe, and I'm getting the text messages that we have a few school board members watching the show right now. I want to offer Dr. Matthew Haas, the superintendent of Albemarle County Public Schools, an opportunity to connect with the community in long-form content on this show. If you want to save some time, and I know your time is valuable and you're pulled in a lot of directions, we're happy to host you on this show and we can have long-form discussion. I swear on my life that I will not use shock jock tactics on the show. I will ask you fair and pointed questions based on data and statistics, but I won't do anything that would be seen as shock jock or embarrassing. You have an open invitation to come on the program. KJ, I'd like to give you ample opportunity to highlight any topics we haven't covered that you think should be out to the community.
I think we've covered a lot.
I think so too.
All I would say is I would love the school board and Matt Haas to do, a live forum that is not a school board meeting, but more of a, what did we call those?
Long-form content?
No, like in the school gym.
Town hall.
Yeah. I would love a town hall meeting. I would attend. I'm happy to help organize if that is needed. And parents, please speak up and come up with solutions to the problems, not just complain about the problems. I think there's a lot of very smart parents in this community that have great business backgrounds or knowledge. Keep the solutions coming, because if the school board isn't going to create them, then let's give them a helping hand. Well
said. Get engaged. Judah, do you have any closing thoughts that you want to offer? You kicked some tail today, J-Dubs.
Thank you. No, I think I've said what intended to say.
Great job today. Vanessa Parkhill, Kelly, Jerry, and Judah. My father was a shop teacher. He taught in an inner city school. Many of his students probably were not going to college. He ended up taking some business classes so he could teach his students the concepts in case they wanted to start their own business. He also wrote history on other non-shop related facts on the chalkboard to reinforce the learning tied to the other classes in shop class.
Brilliant,
Yeah,
right?
brilliant. I'm literally going to say, comma, brilliant, and then I'm going to tag Kelly on this. You're going to have, 300 comments that you've been tagged in here to respond to. So spend the rest of your day responding to the viewers and listeners here.
I hope they're not bad. But teachers,
no, there was not bad.
And I'm sure you would agree with this, Jerry. Teachers, if there's anything that we can do to help and support you,
please.
Whether that be in the classroom or what's happening outside the classroom, let parents know, because I know there are many, many of us that will gladly support you and help you in any way.
Fantastic. 100% agree. You, again, have hit a home run.
Oh, it's always fun.
It's so fun. It is fun. It's fun. The guests make it fun, and she makes it absolutely fun every time she's on the show. She is Kelly Jackson, a business owner, a locally owned business, committed to the community from a philanthropy standpoint. Look at what she's doing for the UVA Children's Hospital. I'm going to embarrass her a little bit because she would not acknowledge this herself. We're talking millions here, okay? Community business, locally owned business. Judah Wickhauer is our North Star and the infrastructure behind the network. My name is Jerry, and all we're trying to do is have conversations that are real. Like, it's not platitudes and rainbows and sunshines. It's real conversation on this network and long-form content. Tomorrow we have Mr. Bill.
I'm excited about it.
I'm so excited for Mr. Bill.
Right?
I can't wait to have Mr. Bill.
I can't wait to watch it.
Mr. Bill is going to be on the show at 12:30. He was the author of the letter to the Albemarle County School Board imploring them respectfully to change their grading policy. This is the I Love CVille Show. So long, everybody. That was awesome.
It was great.
Tell us when the mics are on.
Sure.